This is an unauthorized transmission compiled from classified records, intercepted logs, and unreleased footage. You are advised to remain still. Remain silent. The following report concerns a developing pattern of pet behavior deemed a matter of public safety. Authorities recommend reporting any prolonged or unexplained animal staring, especially from dogs. The first confirmed incident occurred in a quiet suburb outside Houston, Texas. A 46-year-old male resident, name redacted, was reported missing 4 days after neighbors noticed something off. Prior to his disappearance, his dog refused to enter the house's basement. Witnesses recall the man descending the stairs alone, coaxing the animal. Audio records capture what followed: the sound of soft speaking, then silence. The dog remained at the top of the stairs, unmoving, staring. Like it knew, like it had seen this before. Hours passed. The footage shows no movement from the man. For nearly 6 hours, he stood in complete stillness, not shifting, not blinking. His arms stayed at his sides, too straight, like he forgot how joints worked. The next morning, his voice was described as flat, too precise, and unfamiliar. By the third day, he had vanished. No signs of forced entry. The dog was found inside the house, emaciated, dehydrated, but untouched by scavengers. Its eyes were locked on the basement door, still staring, paws rigid, fur raised. It didn't blink once. Over the next 8 months, 14 similar cases surfaced across 3 counties. Different names, different homes, same sequence. Dogs begin to stare, long, motionless stares. Their owners, often healthy, socially active individuals, begin to change. Not all at once. It starts small. They forget birthdays. They miss stares. Then it gets worse. They stop answering calls. Their speech becomes rhythmically off, robotic, like reading from a script that was just handed to them. In interviews, coworkers describe them as not quite listening or delayed, like they were buffering. Some stopped eating. Some stood still for hours without explanation. All eventually vanished. In each case, the dog became anxious days before, would not sleep in the same room, would bark at closed doors. They'd bark at empty chairs, wag tails at nothing, or just whimper. For hours. The pattern became impossible to dismiss. Local shelters began refusing intake. Veterinarians filed multiple reports describing identical canine stress responses. Avoidance, trembling, refusal to make eye contact with their own owners, even when called, especially when called. A veterinary technician in Morningside, Florida, was the first to witness what has since been classified as a transition event. She had been conducting a behavioral study on trauma reactions in shelter dogs. One of the test subjects, belonging to a recently reported case, was reacting violently when shown a live video feed of its owner. It didn't bark. It screamed. That's the only word that fits. During a controlled reunion, the technician left the camera running. At 3:42 p.m., the subject entered the room. The dog froze. Its legs stiffened, tail tucked. You could see its chest stop moving, like it forgot to breathe. 38 seconds later, the owner's posture shifted. Subtly, arms relaxed too perfectly, head tilted too far. No blink for over 4 minutes. He smiled, just a little, not like a happy smile, the kind a mask would make. The voice, previously strained and emotional, began repeating the dog's name in exact intervals, with no tonal variation. Medical staff arrived to intervene. The man's pupils were unresponsive to light. EEG scans taken on-site showed complete neural inactivity, zero brainwave function, but he kept moving. He followed the technician out of the room. No urgency, just glided. The dog never looked away. It is now believed that dogs are the first, perhaps the only, beings capable of detecting the change before it happens. Weeks prior to transformation, they begin avoiding direct touch. They stop responding to commands, cease tail wagging, display signs of dread, not fear. Dread, like something old just walked into the room and only they could feel it. In one case, a golden retriever buried its own food bowl and refused to eat until removed from the house. In another, a border collie broke through a second-story window after the owner stood in the hallway silently for over an hour, facing the wall. Surveillance footage recovered from these sites often shows the same thing. A person sitting perfectly still or standing in dim light, while their dog stares. The footage always ends the same way. The power flickers, the screen glitches, and when it comes back, the dog's alone. One frame shows a Doberman raising its paw and trembling, not out of aggression, but recognition. When asked why it attacked its owner, the animal behaviorist replied, "Because that wasn't its owner anymore." Officially, there is no statement. Unofficially, entire towns have been locked down under the guise of viral containment. Blocked roads, cell towers jammed, community drills, they call them. Reports of aggressive pet behavior have spiked. Select breeds, particularly shepherds, retrievers, and mastiffs, are being recalled by state authorities for evaluation. None are returned. Shelters are closing. Dogs are disappearing from pounds, homes, and vet offices overnight. Witnesses report plain vans, no markings, no license plates, no driver ever steps out. Just a door opens. A dog goes in, then silence. No barks are ever heard from inside. If this is control, it is not for your safety. It is to silence the only creatures that can still tell who is real and who has already been replaced. In file #29D, one handler wrote, "It looked like him, walked like him, but the smell, there was no smell, no sweat, no breath, just cold. Transmission will end shortly." Authorities have triangulated this signal. This recording is now flagged. Before silence falls, remember this. If your dog begins to stare, truly stare, not out of curiosity, not for food, not in play, but with stillness, with sorrow, with something like mourning, do not speak, do not move, do not let it see you change, because it knows. It knows what's inside your skin is not you anymore. And if your dog has already stopped barking, it's too late.